I work 3 jobs, but I still make time to learn languages every week. Surprisingly, it has nothing to do with discipline. The biggest thing that changed my language learning was making it feel whimsical. I wasn't naturally a high energy person, but I found little ways to romanticize the process so it actually becomes something I look forward to. In this video, I'll show you the whimsical habits that make me excited to study. One of the easiest ways to make language learning feel whimsical is to change your environment. Sometimes it's as simple as dressing up a little, grabbing a book, and going to a cafe. I recently discovered this Japanese cafe. I brought my manga with me, ordered a dessert, and for an hour I genuinely felt like I was the main character. I almost always carry something to read with me, either my Kindle or a paperback, because you never know when you have a quiet moment to study. I've also noticed that I focus much better when I leave the house. Since I work after my full-time job, it sometimes feels like all I do at home is work. Changing my surroundings creates a mental reset. Instead of feeling like I'm forcing myself to study, it feels like I'm treating myself to a little adventure. I also think it's fun to give the day a theme. Maybe today is reading manga in a Japanese cafe. It sounds a little silly, but creating these tiny stories make language learning feel less like a task and more like an experience. I just got home and I almost finished this one at the cafe. I still have like this much to finish. I think I'll finish it tonight. It was a very peaceful afternoon, super warm, a lot of people because World Cup is going on. I finished it. So they're in the middle of fighting and then this book ended. But I cannot wait to read the next one. For me, learning a language isn't just about memorizing vocabulary, it's also about falling in love with the culture behind it. I've been taking Japanese classes for fun, and my teacher recently recommended a movie called Kokuho. It's a popular film about a man who changes the course of his life by devoting himself to kabuki, which is Japan's traditional form of theater. I went into it without knowing much about the story, but I was hooked almost immediately. It gave me a deeper appreciation for an art form I didn't know much about, and it reminded me that every language carries centuries of history, traditions, and stories. While I was watching the movie, I decided to finally finish a craft project I've been putting off. There was something incredibly calming about building something with my hands while listening to Japanese in the background. Those are some of my favorite learning moments. If you haven't seen Kokuho and you're interested in learning more about Japanese art and theater, I definitely recommend giving it a watch. The biggest reason I want to learn languages is simple. I'm genuinely curious about other cultures. The more I learn, the more I realize that knowing 2 languages just isn't enough. Let's open it up. One of the highlights of my week was opening a new album I ordered online. It instantly made my day better. What I love about this album is that the lyrics are written in English, Chinese, and Korean. Being able to understand all 3 languages helps me appreciate the music on a much deeper level. Whenever I really love a song, learning the lyrics never feels like studying. I'll play the song on repeat while translating the lyrics myself, then compare my interpretation with translations from other fans or websites. 너의 코로랭이 아직까지. It's been a while since my French classes ended. I will start taking them in September, so it's like a summer break that we have, and now I want to study French vocabularies. I've been trying to find ways to make it fun, and then I thought it would be perfect to find some inspirations on Pinterest. So I love making vision board. So this is a vision board I made in December. So I started building a board for French flashcards. Instead of searching for random vocabulary lists, I collect beautifully designed French flashcards that are organized by theme. For example, I might save an infographic with household chores, another with kitchen vocabulary. Everything is grouped together visually, which makes it much easier to learn. I love this method for two reasons. First, it saves me the time of organizing vocabulary myself. Someone has already done the work by putting related words into one place. Second, the graphics are so aesthetic and visual, which makes a huge difference for me as a visual learner. Seeing all the words connected by a theme helps them stick in my memory much better than reading a long list. After I save them, I transfer the vocabulary into my digital notebook. If a word is missing a definition or an example sentence, I'll add it myself. I also look up the pronunciation and practice saying each word out loud before moving on. Faire son lit, ranger sa chambre. These are just a few examples of how I like to get creative with language learning. I'm always experimenting with different ideas to see what makes me excited to study. I've found that when I enjoy the process, I naturally stay focused longer without forcing myself. Studying starts feeling like a break from work, a chance to feed my brain something meaningful.